What's going on, baseball fans? So in this video, I'm going to go over what in the world is wrong with my Red Sox. I see 3 things that I want to talk about, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into this. The first thing that is wrong with the Boston Red Sox is Raphael Devers' defense. I'm going to get the least important one out of the way first, and that's Raphael Devers in the field. Devers has never been known for his defense. It drives me nuts when people say Devers has improved on defense in the last couple of years. Sure, maybe he makes a few more plays than he did a couple of years ago, but overall, he went from negative 14 defensive runs saved in 2018 to negative 10 defensive runs saved in 2019. Okay, sure, he improved by 4 runs, but it was still negative 10 runs. He's always been a terrible fielder that has trouble making the simple plays consistently. So far this season, he's already given up a run defensively and has 3 errors in 4 games. Sure, this isn't the main reason the Red Sox are losing, but when you have a runner on third with 2 outs and a chance to end the inning on a simple ground ball, and you make a bad throw, this really cuts into a pitcher's and team's morale. I honestly think Devers needs to become a DH eventually because he just stinks on defense. The second reason why I think the Red Sox stink so far is the starting pitching. The starting pitching is terrible, and let's be real, we all knew this would happen. There was no Chris Sale, no David Price coming into this season, and that wasn't going to help anything. And on top of this, now the best starting pitcher for the Red Sox in 2019, Eduardo Rodriguez, has been out so far due to COVID. Their best starting pitcher is Nathan Eovaldi, and granted, I love Nasty Nate more than anyone, but he had a disaster of a 2019 season, and even though he was masterful in the 2018 postseason, he has a career ERA of 4.28 and a career FIP of 3.96. Even though his career FIP is better than his career ERA, it's still not a number that you want the ace of your staff to have. To put it in perspective, Chris Sale's ERA and FIP are a full run lower than Eovaldi's. After Eovaldi, they've trotted out Martin Perez, who I think is capable of being a reliable 4th or 5th starter in a rotation, but he just hasn't cut it in his career dating back to 2012. He has a career ERA of 4.73 and a career FIP of 4.48. Averages under 6 strikeouts per 9 and over 3 walks per 9. That is just not going to cut it. After Perez, we've seen Ryan Weber, and the optimistic side of me believed Ryan Weber could be a hidden gem, maybe lightning in a bottle, but in reality, that is just a pipe dream. Since 2009, he's really only dabbled in the minor leagues. He's pitched a total of 981 innings for his career, but only 118 of those innings have been in the major leagues. In 118 major league innings, he has an ERA of 5.34 and an FIP of 4.63. That just won't get it done. After Weber, we've seen the Red Sox utilize an opener. On Monday night, we saw the Red Sox begin with Josh Osich, who in 2019 had an ERA of 4.66 and has a career ERA of 4.90. He was okay, I guess, giving up 2 runs in a couple innings, but when an opener is already putting your team into a hole when they really only have 2 or 3 innings of work to do, it's just not effective. After this, we saw Jeffrey Springs come in, who has a career ERA of 5.48 and had a 6.40 ERA in 2019, which leads me to the next thing that is wrong with the Red Sox. And last but not least, the final thing wrong with the Red Sox is Ron Renike. This could be an overreaction considering Renike has only managed 4 games in his Red Sox career, but Renike's decisions so far have just looked bad. The first decision he made that was questionable was benching their newest right fielder Alex Verdugo in the first game of the season for Kevin Pillar. Sure, Pillar had a decent season in 2019 and they were going up against a lefty, so they wanted a righty versus lefty matchup, but Verdugo hit much better against left-handed pitching in 2019, hitting .327 against lefties compared to .281 against righties. Overall, though, the Red Sox did win the game 13-2, and Kevin Pillar did play a good game, so I did let this one slide. Where I really started to get confused with Renike is when he didn't start Xander Bogaerts in the second game of the season. He said the reason for this was that he wanted to ease the players into the season, but Bogaerts eventually came in to pinch hit and then ended up playing the rest of the game at shortstop, so what was even the point? I mean, come on, you have to be putting putting your best guys out there in a 60-game season? Why was Xander Bogaerts not starting that game? The next thing I questioned was in the same game. With the Red Sox down 5-0, they scored a couple of runs in the 6th inning to make it a 5-2 game, and you could feel the momentum shifting a bit. However, in the top of the 7th, Renike brought in reliever Dylan Covey, who had a 7.98, yes, 7.98 ERA in 2019, and has a career 6.56 ERA. No disrespect to Mr. Covey here, but why in the world is he coming into this game? There were plenty of other options to go with that could have kept the game close, including Ryan Brazier, who did struggle a bit in 2019, but he had an ERA under 2 in 2018. The next thing where I really started to lose my patience with Renike was in Monday night's game against the Mets. They went with an opener in Josh Osich, as I mentioned earlier, who gave up 2 runs and a couple of innings of work. Sure, that's not the worst. A 2-0 game with the Red Sox offense isn't really much to worry about. But then, when you bring in Jeffrey Springs after him, a pitcher who has a career ERA of 5.48 and a career whip of 1.71, as well as a 6.40 ERA and a 1.89 whip in 2019, you just really scratch your head. They just signed Zach Godley, who has been digressing since a very good 2017, but he has a much better track record. Oh, and guess what? He eventually came in anyway and pitched 4 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. Overall, sure, it's only been 4 games, but the decision-making from Ron Renike so far has been completely lackluster, and you know what? I'll say it. I am really starting to miss Alex Cora. So that's what I think is wrong with the Red Sox so far. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. Do you think there is any hope for the Boston Red Sox this season? I don't know. I'm starting to lose hope already, but let me know what you think down below. That's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.